Today we will be solving question number 8 of the CKA practice exam. The question says SSS into the master node. Check how the master components, that is kubelet, kube-apiserver, kube-scheduler, kube-controller-manager and etcd are started installed on the master node. Also find out the names of the DNS application and how it's started installed on the master node. Write your findings into the file /opt/course 8 master-components.txt. The file should be structured like this. First, let's start by creating this file. We'll go to our cluster. We are using kind Kubernetes cluster with one node. We'll create a file here. And we'll copy this structure, paste it here. In our second terminal, we'll be SSH into our master node. We are running a kind cluster, so this is the kind cluster it's running. Copy, we'll say docker exec -it /bash/bin/bash. Let's clear it out. We are inside the control master plane. First, it is asking for kubelet, and for the answer, choice of type are not installed, process, static pod and pod. For the kubelet, it's usually a process, so we can see it by typing systemctl status kubelet. If we go upwards, we can see that it is showing that this process is active, and there's the process ID. Okay, now in the answer we'll write that it is a process. Let's go to our terminal. Let's go in the start process. For the kube-apiserver, kube-scheduler, kube-controller-manager and etcd, these are usually static pods running inside our Kubernetes cluster. But for that, let's check kubectl get all, and you can see etcd is running, and after etcd there is something like kind control plane, which is the name of the control plane that we are running. So this refers to being that this pod is running as a static pod. Again, kube-apiserver, again the same thing is written here, kind control plane. Again, kube-controller-manager, and again the same thing is written here, kind control plane. And the lastly, kube-scheduler, hyphen kind hyphen control hyphen plane. So let me show you where we can find these manifest files. It's usually located in Kubernetes, etc Kubernetes manifests. This is the location where Kubernetes stores its pods, which is a static pods, and these are all static pods that the Kubernetes is running: etcd, kube-apiserver, kube-controller-manager and kube-scheduler. So for the answers, we'll just copy this static pod, go to our answer script and write it here. For kube-apiserver, it's a static pod. For kube-scheduler, it's a static pod. For kube-controller-manager, it's also a static pod. And lastly, for the etcd, it's a static pod. For DNS, let's check our DNS. For DNS, we can see that it's running a core DNS pod. Actually is running a deployment for core DNS, but in the answers we only have not installed, process, static pod or pod. So in the answers we'll type For the core DNS, we'll have the name of, for the type we'll add pod, and for the name we'll just take core DNS. Okay, let's save this file, save and quit. Let's verify our content. Yeah, it is working. So that's about it for this question. Thank you.